was about 12 years ago when I saw a sign on a door here at MDOT. And it said, Toastmasters meets here every week. It can help you improve your speaking skills. I was like, okay, I need some help with my speaking. I'm pretty quiet and shy. So I was excited, and I knew communication was very important to life and work. So I showed up when an open house came, and it was an exciting meeting. I do remember Manesh was even there. And like Manesh, everyone there was polished. And I thought Toastmasters was where you're shy and you learn to speak. These people are all great speakers. They're showing off. So I left, but they were friendly, and they had another open house maybe 6 months later. I came back, and they kept inviting me back. I never signed up until my supervisor said, Greg, you've been going to Toastmasters. Why don't you give a presentation at the conference? And I thought, oh my gosh. I said, okay, I didn't want to tell him, well, I've been going once in a while, but I haven't signed up. I haven't given any speeches, so I was deathly afraid. I went to that conference. I said something, I forget what I said. I was so nervous. And people said, oh, Greg, you did good. But I did not feel like I did good. I felt like I was sweating and probably all kinds of filler words. So it was then, probably about 10 years ago, so 2 years after this initial meeting, that I said, I got to join Toastmasters, because the only way to help is to actually sign up, participate, so I can give speeches. I'll give 10 speeches, I'll stay 1 year, and I will be a much better speaker. Well, I joined up, and they asked me if I'd be sergeant at arms. They had an opening where you set up the room. They said, it's not that much work. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And it was a little bit of work. I had to set up the meetings beforehand, and I had to participate in board meetings once a month. But I enjoyed it, and I learned about how board meetings went and working with other people. And after the first year, they said, Greg, you did a great job. Would you like to be club president? I said, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm finishing my 10 speeches. I'm thinking I'm going to be done with this. But I'd like to stick around another year because I know it will be helpful. They asked again. They said, Greg, we see something in you. You should be club president. And they said, it's not a lot of work, Greg. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I was club president, and it was a bit of work. Nothing that would kill me, but I didn't do a great job at it, but I learned to work with other people. I learned that other people's opinions sometimes overrode the president, and they had valid opinions. My third year, I was vice president of membership, a job I wanted from the start, and I excelled in that job. I liked it, and after the third year, I said, okay, I'm done being on the board. Let's let some new people take over. So I told my wife, I'm done. No more Toastmaster board for me. I'm just going to sit back in the back and watch other people exceed. So the meeting right before we selected officers, they said, we need a club president. We don't have anybody. Somehow my hand went up. I was going to be club president again. So I had to go home and tell my wife. She said, so you're off the board? I said, well, actually, I'm president again. That year was great. I had learned so much from the previous 3 years. I did a much better job as president. The fifth year, I said, okay, I'm going to be off the board this year. But someone asked me, someone from a leadership position, would you like to be a district officer, Greg? We see something in you. And it's not a lot of hard work, Greg. I said, what's the position? Public relations officer for the district, nearly the entire Lower Peninsula. I didn't say no, but I said, let me ask my wife, knowing that she would get me out of it. So I went home, I said, honey, they want me to be district public relations officer for 1,600 Toastmasters. I said, what do you think about that? Instead of saying no, she said, well, do you want to do it? I said, what do you mean do I want to do it? It's like countless hours of work with no pay. I don't have time for this. But I thought, I would learn a lot, and I always grow. So I said, I I guess I do want to do it. So I became the district public relations officer, and that was a lot of work, and I grew so much from that year. Finally, I said, I'm done. I'm done on the board. I'm not going to be on the board next year. I need some time off. I told my wife. She's like, you said that before. I said, this time I'm honest. I'm not going to do it, no matter what they say. So can you imagine my wife's look on her face when I came home and said, I have 2 board positions this time. So what have I learned from Toastmasters? Well, eventually I learned, you gotta learn to listen to people, because as I was with the club for 9.5 years, you begin to learn to talk a lot, and now you gotta learn, hey, sometimes listen to people. Your thoughts are important, but it's okay if you forget about them, because other people's ideas are important too. Get ideas from those who have done it already. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Manesh, he's been here a long time. Ask him, hey, can you help me? How some ideas, something you've already done. That way you don't have to come up with the idea yourself. Hang around positive people. Don't hang around people who are negative all the time. Hang around Toastmasters. Hang around people who are a good influence in your life. Finally, less is more. Keep it simple, stupid. You say too much, and that's the good thing about Toastmasters. They limit your speeches. I see my red light is on. It tells you, hey, less is more. How much time, Manesh?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. So to conclude, what can you bring from Toastmasters into your life? Well, you don't get paid at Toastmasters. What's the difference between your job? At your job, you get paid. Now just think of that as an added bonus. But I could move up through the ranks of Toastmasters and now to the highest rank, a distinguished Toastmasters. They always say you could keep moving up if you search and you keep going after those roles. Well, I think the same thing is true in your job. Well, I get paid for my job, so I just do what I do. But I would argue, if you want to move up, hey, what's the position description? Do you need to learn Excel? Go take an Excel class. Just work for solutions, work with teamwork, and don't do it so much for the pay, and you'll find out that you can rise through the ranks and do whatever you'd like to do. Thank you.